There we go. I checked it before we got started this time. My mic's actually gonna. I don't know. Everybody, how's everybody? Is any? What's up, Jocko? What's up, Beanie? How we doing? Chat. Getting everything set up. Hold on. What up, Light? Trying to get everything set up. I don't understand why that monitor just occasionally. Aha, there. Woohoo. Ta-da! There it is. That. The heck! I put this up and immediately. That's when I was on about Fnaf. Ah, nice. Been on your streams lately? No, you're good, Late. It's all good. Welcome back. Today, actually, we're working on something fun. So this is what I'm working on, slowly but surely. Oh, that reminds me. Check something. Did I finally get stuff to go through? Okay, cool. Which means I can go here. Hello. Am I late? No, no, no. We just got started. We just got started. Fazbear Fright. Oh, come on. Hold on. I'm buying book number 2 of Fazbear. There we go. Now I own book 2 to go read. I got through. We did book 1 today. I did book 1, but I had audio for book 1. Book 2, I'm going to have to actually physically read, but that's fine. We're cool with that. That's awesome. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Trying to get to, well, 1,000 eventually, but 520 is kind of the goal, the most recent goal to be like, woo, about. Anyways, what's going on, everybody? As you guys can see, we are doing some we have a tier list here. And what is our tier list? Our tier list is the stories, the written literature stories, the books, essentially, of Five Nights at Freddy's. All of the books, guys. We're not talking about one book or two books. We're talking about everything. But we're going in order. And as of right now, I only have 6 of the short stories, right? But we do know some of the stuff about some of them, all. And we want to. What I want to do is I'm doing for this monster over. I don't know. I'm gonna have to check that out later. Anyways, what I want to do is I'm going to eventually get through all of the books. I might have to rely on the synopsises or audiobooks and stuff like that to get through them, just to be able to hear them and stuff. But basically what it is I'm trying to make a tier list that for me, it's my own personal one. If you guys don't agree with it, that's fine. It is what it is. But my own, hold on. All right, I think I fixed it. Sorry, that's my bot. What up, Amber? Hey, y'all. How's everybody doing? With the fourth class of Silver Eyes and Twisted Ones. Wait. So what? Definitively not can. What do you mean? What? So all it is this is basically the canonicity of the stories, in my opinion. Right. So how canon are they? Are they fully canon? So the logbook we know for a fact full canon. Potentially canon. Are they canon adjacent? Which means it's basically like it feels like it's from the same universe, but something is just slightly off. That makes me question its canonicity. Clues, but not canon. Then yeah, and then at the very bottom I have Fazbear. But hello, I'm so sleepy. Hello, clues, but not canon. As in, we know that it definitively does not take place in the same universe as the game continuity, but there's definitely a lot of clues given to help us narrow down some information from the actual canon from the actual games. Maybe there's clues, but honestly, part of something about it just tells me that it's more of like a fun story, like a cool story that he thought about that doesn't even really seem to carry a lot of legitimacy to it, but like in the aspect of towards the game canonicity, probably not canon. This is for those stories that there's a strong feeling that they're not canon, but obviously no one has proven it either way. Then there are definitively not canon. This is what Scott himself has literally said, not game canon. Again, doesn't mean that there isn't clues involved, but it does mean that it is that we 100% cannot deny that these are not part of the game continuity. And then there's Fazbear. So any story that has Fazbear featured in it heavily, boom, goes right there. Yeah, Stitch Wraith's story, probably not canon. All right. Probably not canon. It might be canon adjacent. So what I did was like logbook. We know the logbook is full canon, right? I think the entire theory community, I don't believe there's, and if there is a subgroup of people that don't think the logbook is full canon, they're few and far between. Potentially canon. So like I said, I've had, this is my main thing that I want to talk about today, right? What I want to talk about today is the Into the Pit book, because I've gotten all three of those now. I'm back again, or always back. What up, Springtrap? Sea Bonnies? Sea Bonnies will probably go in the same spot as Fazbear. It'll probably go in the Fazbear column, right? So, but anyways, I re-listened to all three of Into the Pit's stories today, and I might do it again tomorrow. I just bought book 2 because I had some money earned up from doing some app stuff, which I need to earn more money through some apps stuff too. Oh, not enough just yet. I'm gonna have to earn some more money tomorrow while I'm sitting around. Light Springtrap on fire. Oh, poor Springtrap. Anyways, so I listened to those again today, and I wanted to talk about them more than anything, and like some things I want to do. So we need to do research, and I purposely wanted to wait to do this research till I did it on stream with you guys. And the one thing that we need to look for more than anything is Redbox movies. When did Red Boxes become popular? Hold on. When did Redbox start, not die? Oh, is Redbox dead? Redbox was launched in 2002. Redbox's DVD kiosk rentals were spotted at various locations, including fast food restaurants, grocery stores, and pharmacies. When did Redbox die? Redbox, the DVD kiosk rental company, shut down permanently on July 12, 2024 after its parent company, Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment, filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. The company peaked in 2013. Okay. So what this tells us, right? What this tells us is that what does this tell us? This tells us that what this does tell us for sure is that Into the Pit, the short story Into the Pit, takes place somewhere between 2002 and 2024, technically. But 2000, when did Into the Pit come out? When was Into the Pit published? When was Into the Pit published? Written by like Bruce Gotham. 2019. Okay, so somewhere between 2002 and 2019, Into the Pit takes place, right? So we can narrow it down to a 17-year gap. Because so the reason I'm doing this is because someone on the Reddit was talking about how this is like their theory now is that Oswald's dad, Cassie's dad, and Mike were all bullies together, right? And that, but that it won't make sense. It can't make sense. I think, yeah, it not logical. Also, actually, Into the Pit actually made it illogical on its own. I just remembered that. Into the Pit, the story makes it impossible for yeah, it makes that impossible. Maybe. Hold on. Oswald's how old is Oswald? In Into the Pit. God, Into the Pit. Oswald's age is not specified in 2000 in the 2024 horror mystery video game Five Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit. In the game's storyline, Oswald versus a man. No, in the book, guys, in the book. 10 years old. Okay. Okay, so if that is the case, Oswald's dad is bullying. No, he's not. So this is the thing, and this is me giving all the proof that he's definitely not. Okay, so the reason that I think that he's definitely not is because Oswald specifically asks his dad in the book. In the book, he asks his dad, "How old were you in 1985?" And his dad says, "I was 2 years older than you." Are as older than you are now, which means in 1985 Oswald's dad was 12, which means in 1983 Oswald's dad was 10. That is not no 10-year-old. Yeah, that is not no 10-year-old. You telling me a 10-year-old's got them fucking pythons going on? That is not a 10-year-old, ladies and gentlemen. Just saying. So that's the one. We know this is Mike for sure. And it's the same thing. Like I believe that the books are fictional and the ITP games and upcoming Fright games are the real events. What? Oh, you mean the upcoming games based on the books are going to be the canon events that the books are not canon events, though. What? Hold on. Explain that to me in crayon. So sleepy. Hello, real Fnaf fan. How we doing, man? How we doing, real? Sorry, I'm trying to talk about my stuff, guys. What are we talking about, Fire Wings? What do you mean by that? You think the books aren't real, but that the games that are going to be made from the books will be the real events? Eat your dad tier, Amelia. What is not Amelia? Emily. What are we talking about? Why are we always talking about eating fathers? So weird. Yeah, maybe not tomorrow. Well, actually, probably tomorrow. I'll probably get at least this book read. But yeah, I'm gonna be reading book 2 over the next few days and putting in marks and stuff like that. I think the Frights books are books in universe, like the indie games. The indie games are based on the real canon games, and the books are based on the real canon Frights game. Okay, I guess. So you think that the Fright games, the games made off of the Frights books, are going to be game continuity. Like, they're going to be part of the actual game timeline. Because as of right now, I'm on the standpoint that I don't believe Into the Pit is any more, is any more game continuity than Freddy in Space or FNAF World or Falaf. Like, I feel like it's it definitely can't, like, here's the problem though. So here's my problem though, is that some of the things that happen in Into the Pit, both game and book, are things that are like FNAF World is meta. Yeah, so it's not continuity. It's canon, but it's not continuity. Like, the only thing that connects it to the actual game, to the actual rest of the game universe, is the fact that you set up your FNAF 3 mini games. Which, I mean, is cool and all, but we've had so many other mini games now from other games that you don't have to set up through FNAF World, that it's kind of just like, it is like a meta canon game. Like, it's like, hey, this connects to one specific situation, and that's about it. But I think with, like, Into the Pit, there's too many things that happen specifically into the pit that we don't see as a commonality through the rest of the universe, like through the games themselves. Like, we never see it represented anywhere else in the games for me to be comfortable saying that it's definitely game continuity, right? So, like, the traveling into agony memories, that is not featured in any other of our game universes or mentioned in any of the information that we are given in the game universes at all, to give me the impression that is something that happens in the game universe. Does it happen in a different FNAF-verse? Yeah, absolutely. It happens in Into the Pit universe, which also I need to re-listen through. Actually, hold on, I want to see. Into the Pit locations. Fazbear Frights, Into the Pit, the novel. Characters, humans, locations, Into the Pit. Yeah, Into the Pit locations. Jeff's Pizza, Westbrook Elementary, Steel Mill, Oswald's House. Oh, no. I want mentioned. I want all the ones mentioned. Hold on, I guess I can do it. I could just do it this way. Pit. Brown cow. Brown cow. If it's in Into the Pit specific, Into the Pit. Okay, it doesn't. For some reason, like, when I heard Brown Cow while listening to To Be Beautiful, I thought for a second it implied in the epilogues with Eleanor and a character named Larso. Yes, but that's not the games. That's what I mean. The agony stuff isn't represented in the game universe at all. Like, there's nothing in the games that give us an indication that agony memory diving is a thing. Like, it's a thing in the books, but I don't see it in any of the games represented. All right, Emily, have a good night. Bye. Timestamp is 20 minutes if you wanna watch the rest of this tomorrow to be caught up for tomorrow's stream. But yeah, I don't see like the agony diving in. I guess the closest thing to like an agony beast, which is clearly what the Springtrap suit is. Like, the closest thing represented to that would be like maybe like the Biddy Bads and the mini arenas. They're kind of like agony fueled little gremlin creature type things. But we don't ever see, again, like, there's no situation where we can point to like agony has seeped into a animatronic suit and that suit is now being piloted by pure agony. We do see remnant in the form of children's spirits, inhabiting a suit, but in the games we never see a situation where literally it's like pure agony is taking over a full size animatronic. And not just that, but like the whole situation of like it's not just that, it's like the hallucinatory factor of it being able to look like his dad to everybody but him kind of situation is another thing that we never see in the games necessarily. Like the closest thing we have to that is that may perhaps we saw in a dreaded illusion disc sitting on Funtime Freddy's chest. You know, perhaps that may have happened. But like that's what I mean. It's like Into the Pit has a lot of exclusively into the books specific events that we don't see represented in the games. And I live under the philosophy that if we don't see it represented in the games and we only see it represented in the books, that is the disconnect that makes me go clues but not canon, right? So the only of the three. Goodbye. All right, goodbye, Goober. I will see you later. It is 22 minutes in is your time stamp if you want to see more. I might get to come at the end, maybe. Okay, Emily, I'll see you then. Oh yeah, Enrique Garcia, how we doing? If you're still here, I don't know. I might not caught you before you dipped back out for me not saying hi. Try and say hi to you guys as soon as I can, but I'm usually in the middle of talking about stuff too, so remember that, guys. So of the 3 books from Into the Pit, in canonicity likely ability, I put 3 at the top, 1 in the I put Count the Ways at the top. Count the Ways is the most likely of the 3, in my opinion, to be game continuity connected. Right? There's very little about it that makes me feel like it's a disconnect from the games itself. It's very possible. Like Count the Ways doesn't throw a lot of new-esque, like new-ish stuff into the mix. It's a very classic story. Funtime Freddy discarded by himself, ends up in someone's garage. Girl climbs into his stomach. He then holds her in there and eventually makes her choose her method of dying, right? And that's the long and short of that story. There isn't much in the way of information that doesn't seem likely to be connected to the game. You know, we know that Funtime Freddy is originally created under the direction of Afton, right? To be able to kidnap a child and potentially kill them inside. So that could be, and honestly, it would make sense because one of the things that Afton wanted to collect was agony, right? It was remnant and agony. And one of the best ways to get agony is to have very distressing deaths happen, right? So in Count the Ways, he is essentially tormenting this teenage girl that he has in his chest in like the most psychological torturing way possible by asking her to choose her own method of dying, right? And then describing all the different methods that he could definitely pull off and how he would do it prior to the point where he is even willing to give her like a countdown before he actually does the thing and everything else. So in my opinion, the 3rd book in Into the Pit is the most likely, the most potential to be canon to the games. It follows a rigid structure that can definitely be seen in the games from the information we get purely from the games. The direct connection, very likely. So, Fazbear Frights, short story number 3 from book 1, Count the Ways. Thumbs up. It's very potentially canon, right? Maybe Clues into To Be Beautiful on the other hand, in my opinion, is the least likely to be a fully canon, to be fully canon. It is the least likely, in my opinion, for that to be the case. Because one, there is a lot of, like, it's either illusion discs, right? It's either illusion discs or just straight up fucking magic, right? It's probably an illusion disc. And let's be honest, we don't like illusion discs. As a theorizing community, we are not the biggest fans of illusion discs. What up, Odin? Um, and in Into the Pit book 2, To Be Beautiful, that story, or Into the Pit book 1, Into the Pit story 2, To Be Beautiful, that is more than likely how that story is driven, is through an illusion disc situation, right? Um, every night every night Sarah goes to sleep by Eleanor, who's clearly probably a baby, a circus baby stand-in, obviously. Sings her to sleep. She falls asleep, which on her own, that's a weird thing too, because when when Eleanor sings Sarah to sleep, Sarah falls asleep immediately. So it's like, okay, so is this also the illusion disc method? Like the illusion disc messes with her, scrambles her brain, and causes her to go unconscious for all night or whatnot. But then, so every time that she's asleep, Eleanor is able to sever her body, her limbs from her, and replace them with junk, essentially. But because she's wearing the necklace makes it look like she's given her an improved version of what she has removed. First her arms, then her legs, then her torso, and then finally her face. She makes her beautiful, but it turns out she wasn't actually making her beautiful. The necklace was making her appear that way, but really, for some reason, Eleanor was slowly disassembling this kid, and because she cut the body up into pieces, she was then able to use the necklace to make herself look like the original version, which was still weird to me that she had to do it like that way. Um, but yeah, it was like it's so disconnected from any of the games in like terms of like what's being done or why it's happening or anything like that. That to me, it's definitely like To Be Beautiful feels like to me one of the most distant possibilities of still potentially being canon, but is probably not canon, and it's more likely just clues. Um, I feel like I moved these weird. I feel like probably canon should actually be higher. Yeah, there we go. Canon adjacent, probably canon. Clues, but not canon. Can I change the colors too? Oh, I can. Okay, cool. I need to change you that color green. Change you to that color yellow. You change you to green. There we go. There we go. How do you guys feel about that? If anyone's okay. and then there's Into the Pit, right? There's Into the Pit and Into the Pit. So Into the Pit, I'm gonna go off of just the book, right? So the book one, like I said before, using Redbox. I'm trying to think of what other things. No, it's got to be after 2005 either. It's got to be 2010s, right? It's got to be 2010s. This has got to take place in 2010s because he watches YouTube. What YouTube videos does he watch? He watches YouTube videos. What YouTube videos does oh god, it's just gonna give me that stuff instead. Never mind. I'll probably re-listen to it again tomorrow to get that information. But yeah, so he watches YouTube videos and they use Redbox. So that means it's got to be 2010s. It has to be 2010s because let's be honest, 10-year-olds weren't watching a lot of YouTube videos until the 2010s, right? And he was watching like real YouTube videos. And I wish I could book one. I have the audiobook of Into the Pit, not the actual book. And so I'll figure that out tomorrow, re-listen to it. But yeah, it's got to be the 2010s. So Into the Pit takes place in the 2010s, right? And since it's in the 2010s and he's 10, that means he's probably born in 2000 to 2005, which means his dad was somewhere between 25 and 30 when Oswald was born, which works. That's perfect. That actually does work. Yeah. Well, no. Well, hold on. His dad would be maybe 40. So that's the thing. Again, one of the theories that's running around is the idea that Oswald's dad, Cassie's dad, and Mike were all bullies together back in 1983. Which, if that's the case, like I said, the book Into the Pit takes place somewhere around 2010, which would make 2000 be the year that Oswald was born. His dad would have been a bully in 1983, which means he would have been born in about the 1969, which would make him, 30. Would make him about 30-ish when Oswald's born, which is fine. That's actually that birth actually makes sense. But then the theory also running around is that Gregory is Michael's son, which is impossible. I want to put that one down right now because I've been seeing that one run around in the Reddit, and that's, to be frank, to be honest to everybody, it's impossible. It would be impossible for Gregory to be Michael's son for multiple reasons. One, as far as I can tell, Security Breach takes place in about 2035, right? And if Security Breach takes place in 2035, and let's say Gregory is 14, as some people canonically try and make him. I don't know if he actually is. I think he's more like 11, but 14. Make him 14. That means he was born in 2021, right? If he was born in 2021, that would make, and he was still, if he was born in 2021, right? And Mike was his dad. Mike was already 12 to 14 in 1983, so make him 12 in 1983. Make him born in 71. In order for Gregory to be born in 2021, that would make Michael Afton 50 years old when he would have had Gregory. But here's the clincher. That also means that Michael wouldn't have been scooped until into his 50s. In order for Mike to be Gregory's dad, Mike would either have to not get scooped till he's in his 50s, which is definitely not true because he is definitely not 50 years old when he went down into Sister Location, right? His voice, everything about him gives like 20s, right? But or if he is Gregory's father, but everything works out the right way, then that means that Michael had a child post scoop. We think post-scooped Mike had a kid in his 50s. Post-scoop. He found a woman that would be okay with his zombie-like appearance, right? To father a child with. Now remember, this also means Cassie, who is like 12 or 14, her dad would have had to have been the same age in his 50s, right? To have Cassie. So it's like, that's the thing, is that it just doesn't seem likely, right? Now, Oswald's dad could technically be part of it because, that would only make him like in his 30s, right? But we know Into the Pit lets us know that it can't be that Oswald's dad can't be one of the bullies, because we know that Oswald's dad was 12 in 1985, which would make him one of these 4 kids and 10 if he was one of the bullies. Do any of these muscular built teenagers look like they're 10? No, they don't. So I think that's a full debunk of all 3 dad situations. Do these want to be grandparents to some of our new people? They could be. Here's the other thing. The fact that we're constantly trying to tie these kids to other things now. Here's my thing. Can we just, I don't know. I think one of our problems as a theorizing community, right, is that we're too quick to try and make everything connected to everything. And we're too quick to try and make everything canon for everything else. I think that Into the Pit and To Be Beautiful are not canon. They're not the same game canon. Do I think that they're part of the universe? Obviously, because everything is part of the universe. There is no non-FNAFiverse connections, period, right? That is a hard fact that every single story exists within the FNAF multiverse, right? The question to answer here is it game canonicity, game canon, right? So so far this is where I'm at, right? This is where I'm at with it. Logbook full canon. We know it's full canon. It talks about Mike, talks about the crying child, it talks about the one you should not have killed. They're all involved in it directly. Freddy Files, potentially canon, but it does talk a little bit about the other. It talks about some of the stories and stuff. Like, it does talk about the Silver Eyes trilogy. So that's why I'm like, I don't think it's full canon, because it's literally talking about more than one game. It's like talking about more than just the games. So it can't technically. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna move it here because it is definitively not canon to just the games, right? Actually, no. I think canon adjacent works. It's because it falls under the same category as Five Nights at Freddy's, the character encyclopedia, right? The character encyclopedia talks about characters that don't exist in the games but only exist in the books. So same thing with Freddy Files. They both talk about things that exist in the books and in the games, and it talks about books that are definitively not canon, right? So boom, there it is. Probably not canon. Is there a chance that the Stitch Wraith storyline does turn out to be canon or continuity to the games? Yes. Is it likely to happen? No. Because a lot of people think that the Stitch Wraith is a stand-in for kind of an embodiment of characters that we already have in the games. That Andrew and Jason are both stand-ins for other characters, right? Into the Pit, we just talked about how it's definitely not, more than likely it's definitely not continuity to the like game continuity, but it is its own. It's in a different universe. It's in the Stitch Wraith universe. It is connected to the Stitch Wraith universe. Speaking of being connected to the Stitch Wraith universe, this one, Sarah, To Be Beautiful, is 100% Stitch Wraith universe, right? It's Stitch Wraith storyline, because the Stitch Wraith is really that far behind? What the? Okay. Hello? Oh, hold on. I realize something's going on right now. Okay, now it's back. Okay. That was weird. Right? That was for. Hold on. Okay, got that fixed. Now I can go back to looking at chat and what was this joke? Put all of them in F except into the pit because I could go in. What? I don't even get the joke. Zaza, so that's cool. They're not there. It isn't A through F tier, dude, or S through F tier. That's not what we're going for. See, it's not S through F because I'm not tiering them by how good or bad of a story they are. I'm tiering them purely on how much I think that they are involved in the game and the game timeline, the game storyline, right? Um, yeah. So Sarah timeline. So maybe clues in number two because a lot of the story, a lot of what happens in To Be Beautiful is again disconnected from the games, right? So to add them to take it as being a continuity game really makes a lot of issues with no resolutions to them. So, who is Eleanor? Eleanor is clearly a animatronic, but who is she? Right? Is she baby? She could be Circus Baby. She is described as looking similar to Circus Baby, and honestly, the way she's described, I would almost put her closer to being part of the Silver Eyes series. Like that's the thing is I would almost consider To Be Beautiful to be more canon to the Silver Eyes storyline than to the game continuity. With the Eleanor thing, that could easily be another Charlie bot who's running around, right? Um, with like the whole illusion disc necklace that again connected to the Silver Eyes series where illusion discs are much more prevalent. Um, the whole what was I gonna say? Just like her drawing on the fears of like a teenager. I don't know. A lot of that story just really gives me Silver Eyes over game continuity kind of feelings, right? So, so that's it. So that's this so far. Uh, Jamathi, what up? What up, Mega Sand? How we doing, man? So that's how I'm feeling about these right now. And then of course we have the definitively not canon, where Scott has specifically said these are not game canon. These are remakes, retellings, but they're definitely not part of the actual canonicity, right? And then I want to look up Fazgoo. Story. Okay, Fazgoo. The Puppet Carver and He Told Me Everything both have Fazgoo in them. Okay, so the Puppet Carver. Which story is Puppet Carver? He Told Me Everything. Is the third story Fazbear Frights the Cliffs. Okay, the Cliffs. Where's the Cliffs? Boy, this is gonna be hard. I'm gonna have to open this up. Go to book covers. There we go. Untouched covers. Well, that doesn't help me any. They're not any bigger. All right, let's see what we got. Hold on. I can pull it up in a viewer, and that'll make it easier. Come on, load them up. Into the pit. The next one. Fetch 135. Step closer. Bunny call. Black. The Cliffs is number 7. Okay, so third story number 7. Third story number. Okay, so you are Fazgoo. Right. Now the Puppet Carver, I think, is part of this one, right? Hello there. What up, Cross? Puppet Carver. Is that the first book in the? Fazgoon. Fazgoon. Right. I think Puppet Carver is the first we open The puppet. Okay, it's the first story of book 9. Right. The first story of book 9. Yeah, this one right here, Fazbear. Okay, those are Fazbear stories. So there you go. What do you want from me on that one, right? What up, Cross? I read through all of Into the Pit, all 3 stories today, and got them added to the tier list now. So they are in the tier list. In my personal tier list, your guys is allowed to be as different as you want it to be. And you guys are more than welcome to use this tier list too if you want to. It is made by me. It is up on Tier Maker. If you are interested in making your own, being able to visualize what you feel. So I readjusted it a little bit. So we have fully canon, potentially canon, canon adjacent, probably not canon, clues but not canon, and then maybe clues, and then definitively not canon, and then Fazbear, right? So here's a quick question for you. Yes, Matthew? Wait on the question. Willing to answer anything? What is your favorite book and what is your favorite story? It doesn't have to be a story from your favorite book. Oh, for this, I don't know because I'm just now getting through all of the books. I did buy book 2 today to start reading, so going through. But I think my favorite, I don't know. I feel like Count the Ways I really liked as like I think as a movie, it would be kind of cool. But here's the thing. I think the reason why it's my favorite is because the ending isn't definitive. Right? She's in there. The blade happens, right? But the ending doesn't tell us. The ending doesn't tell us in Count the Ways. The ending doesn't actually definitively tell us whether or not Millie died, right? We don't know. Right? Lonely Freddy did sound like a pretty good story. I can't wait to get to it. But we don't know if Millie died or not. That's the funny thing. That's the cool thing. So later on, I mean, it might tell us, or does it tell us? I don't know. Does it tell us in like a Stitch Wraith epilogue or something like that? It didn't in this book, anyways. So I don't know in the future. That's something that I'm not aware of. But as of the end of the first book, Millie is not confirmed dead or alive to me, right? We know Sarah is for a fact. She's even mentioned in the epilogue, and that's the thing. Is basically hinted to but not confirmed. See, so it could come back in the future as Millie being a survivor, right? And we could do like some Saw-esque bullshit where she survives, has found a new lease on life and finding a new positive outlook on life, and ends up maybe helping the animatronics in like again like a Saw-esque way where she went through that and now she wants other people to go through it to really understand how awful of a person she was before she became what she is now. But yeah, two was good, but I gotta say there is one thing that I from these, and I'll see if it continues to be this way going forward in the rest of the books. But the first 3 books, Scott just made the kids awful. Yeah, the original trilogy. I have read Silver Eyes. I didn't do Twisted Ones or The Fourth Closet, mainly because they have information in them, but all of the important information for game stuff, I feel like I've gotten through all the theory videos and stuff about them and stuff to the point where I'll eventually get to them, but they're not top of priority for me. Oh, Into the Pit, yeah. Into the Pit was good, but I'm noticing, yeah, these first three stories, and again, I'll when I get through the other stories, I'm gonna read them too. But he makes kids just awful. He makes them awful, awful people. Like personality wise, they're just awful, right? The main characters are just awful. Oswald is too self obsessed with wanting to have fun that he doesn't understand the economical issues of his parents and why they can't give him everything that his friends get, and he's just like, I just want to be more spoiled like these other kids are. Like, this just makes Oswald kind of awful as a kid. Sarah, same thing. She's like, I just want to be pretty. That's all that really matters in life, is being pretty. Being smart or cool or anything else doesn't matter. You are, if you're super pretty, then you are cool. So nothing else matters but being cool, and it leads to her downfall. Yeah, it's stereotypes for the yeah, they are definitely stereotyped. Millie purposely sets her up to be an outcast and then treats everybody else like they're awful people because they don't themselves go out of their way to look like an outcast or act like an outcast. So she purposely sets herself up to be an outcast because that's her vibe, and that's cool and everything. But the awful person part of her is the fact that she then treats everybody else like they're not as interesting of a person as she is, because of the fact that they don't set themselves up to be as outcasty as she. And that's what makes her an awful person. She judges everybody else for judging her, even though she preemptively judges people for judging her, even though 90% of the people that she's judging probably don't even realize that she exists, let alone care about how she is or what she is. So, but yeah, that one definitely had, like, book 3, like story 3, probably not probably not canon. So actually, so here's the thing. I think Count the Ways is the most potential to be game canon out of all 3 stories. Yeah. Getting replaced by karma because of lazy lord. Hey, it is what it is. Well, because the point of the story is, the point of these stories, both Frights and Tales, isn't to tell a story about a person. It's to tell a story about an event, right? So Millie, Oswald, and Sarah, they mainly are a vehicle to tell the story through. They purely exist to have this thing happen to them, right? And then so they're given enough characterization to make you not completely dislike the fact that this is happening to them, right? But of the 3 stories, the only definitive death is Sarah. We know Sarah dies. We don't know if Millie actually dies, and we know Oswald doesn't die. So of the 3 stories, we only have 1 confirmed death in that book. I was talking about probably not canon. Yeah, Stitch Rate's probably not canon. If it wasn't in the game, The Bite of 83 would be a book. I don't think so. I don't think it plays the right way. Like, that storyline doesn't play the right way. The storyline of The Bite of 83, like FNAF 4, plays like it's something that happens to a not necessarily a character of the games, but to a character of a character, or a connection to a character in the games, right? So it's kind of set up to kind of show us a past event that led to current events that we know about. It's like having a flashback in the middle of a movie to explain the setup of a scene that's about to happen. It's not like the Frights books and the Tales books. They're kind of like, here's a cool idea that I want to have happen. Like what Scott talked about was that some of his stories, not all of them, I'm not going to say all of them because I don't need everybody trying to murder me for having an opinion that's completely separate from everyone else, but he does say that some of the stories are just ideas that he thought up. He then banged out like 10-15 pages to flesh it out a little bit, and then hand it off to his writers to make it into a full short story. So in my opinion, that sounds like I just had a really cool idea and I wanted it to be be in a book. So in his head, he didn't necessarily go, I need to make sure that this fully lines up with my other stories. I know there are theories that it's in the wrong order for the mini games, but I do feel like the sequence of the mini games are like are like some stories. The mini games in what, FNAF 4? Him wandering around. So in FNAF 4, there's only one mini game, one part of the story in FNAF 4 mini games that I feel is out of order, and that's this one right here. This one I feel is out of order. It comes this specific event, this specific scene in the game plays right before is the scene that we see before before this scene, right? Before this whole scene happens. Yeah, so technically non-Stitch Wraith stories. Yes. The two kids are exploring Foxy's Cove. Oh, you mean that stuff? Yeah. Yeah. So this scene I specifically think is out of order from all the other scenes, and my main evidence to that is, one, we don't have any dialogue from Psychic Friend Fredbear. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. Who you gonna call? Psychic Friend Fredbear. But we don't have any Psychic Friend Fredbear dialogue at the beginning of the scene, and the scene doesn't end with tomorrow is another day, which are two things that happen in every other scene. I think this scene is a prequel to that before he's even gotten Psychic Friend Fredbear. Yeah, I think this happens before anything else. I think he sees this kid in the animatronic suit, and that's why he's afraid of the animatronics now. Is he gets locked in the closet by Mike. He finds dead kid right here. Dead kid. William finds him and gives him Psychic Friend Fredbear to keep an eye on him. Yeah, scares him more and more. Yeah, he gets afraid of the animatronics. He wasn't afraid originally, but then he gets shoved in a closet, finds a dead body in a suit, and becomes scared of the animatronics. And it would also explain why Nightmare Fredbear, none of the other Nightmare animatronics, but just Nightmare Fredbear, has a stomach mouth, because he found this dead kid in the stomach of a suit that doesn't have a head. So how to get in there? There must be a mouth somewhere else. The stomach, right? So sees this kid, and now he's afraid of the animatronics. This kid right here, my opinion, is Sammy. Sammy Emily is Henry's son, Sammy. Because this game was being made at the exact same time that Silver Eyes was being wrote. So I feel like there is that opportunity, and they were supposed to release a lot closer to each other than they did. Like, yeah, FNAF 4 came out in July, but it was originally scheduled to come out in October. And the Silver Eyes book was supposed to come out in like December or like November or something like that. They were supposed to be a lot closer in distribution. But Scott also had this thing where if he was making a game and he was done with the game, he just released the game. He wouldn't hold a game to a specific release date because he felt like it was a dishonor to the community who was waiting for the game. Releasing a book is a lot faster than a game. Incorrect. That is actually false. It depends on the game and it depends on the book, but that is very much false. So writing a book can take just as long as creating a game. And then also books don't go, it's not like you just write a book and release it, right? So I'm currently in the middle of writing a book, right? And I've been writing my book for about 3 months now, 2 or 3 months now, and I've been going at a pretty average pace for book writing. I'm about a quarter way through this book, maybe a third, right? When I'm done with the book, I will then have to rewrite it again because it's only the first draft, right? So writing a book can be a 1 to 2 year process, depending. Like, people are like, oh, books come out fast. No, usually what it is the writer of the book, he's writing that book while the book previous in the series Like when you're like, oh, these books in the series came out in pretty quick succession. That's because usually one book's being wrote while another book is being edited. Yeah. So they're usually like on track with each other. Tales books were released very fast. They were, but they're short stories, and that's a different story. I'm talking about the Silver Eyes book, which was a full-on novel, right? The short stories, that's a different story. Right now, I could, if I wanted to, right now, like check this out. So my hold on, because they have the website for all of it. Fazbear writes book 1 word count. Fazbear writes book 1 word count. How long to read? Into the book, into the pit. 48,000 word count. So yeah, so for all 4 stories, the 3 stories, and then the epilogue, it's 48,448 words. So on average, that's about 15,000 words for each short story, and then another 3,000 words for the epilogue, which is basically what it turned out to be. How long was the Silver Eyes? Hold on. We can look that up and just the Silver Eyes. But anyways, 15,000 words can be done in like less than a month. But you also have to remember that it wasn't Scott writing it. He would write out maybe 10 or 15 pages of like the summary of what he wants the story to be about, and then you would give it to a professional writer whose entire job is to write out a book. I mean, write out a short story, and they would just basically take what he already wrote and expand on it. There it is. Oh wait, no, that's the graphic novel. Go back. That's the graphic novel. Go back. We need to do the Silver Eyes right here. That was basically 100,000 words for the Silver Eyes. So it's twice the length. So it's about 7 short stories. Is the length of it 96,000 words. So again, yeah, it's taken me about 2 to 3 months, 2.5, 3 months to write a third of this amount. So yeah, so it probably took at least a year to create the book, right? At least a year. And like to prove that I'm not just faking it. This is the opening. This is the front page of my book. My book is currently. Thank you for not highlighting what I wanted to highlight. Go away, Grammarly. Grammarly. Can we get a let me see you. Quick Grammarly. Thank you. 36,618 words, right? And I've been writing this for about 2-ish months, and it also is 147 pages long. I do have to remove a couple pages because I do have a cheat sheet for my character sheet and a couple other things like that. So if you remove the one page that this is, then it is 146 pages long. This is dabblewriter.com. It's pretty dope. But yeah. Like 36,000 pages in 2 months. And like I said, I've been writing at about the normal average writing speed. He might be, and his would be even longer. I think there's a freer version, but mine's like there you can find codes and stuff, and I got like a year for like $48 or something like that. But it's really cool. Like it gives you like a daily goal you can set up. It helps you put everything into chapters and a bunch of other stuff. There is some extra things that you can get if you pay even more per year. Like it lets you like set up like you can build like characters out and stuff like that and have it sitting on the side, and you can drag the characters into the story, like drag their card over and then put their name in the game and everything like that. Since I want to write a book myself, exactly. It's pretty nice. I like it. It's what I've been using, and like I said, I'm at almost 37,000. I've had a little bit of writer's fatigue or writer's block over the last few days, and I haven't wrote as much as I should have been. But overall, I've been keeping like an average pace on it. But yeah, so he was writing Silver Eyes at the same time that he was building Fnaf 4, a DABBLE, Dabble. So that's why I'm like, there's a very good chance through real world evidence that there's a good chance that this kid could be Sammy, just because that's a character that one didn't get a lot. Like, the character felt like it was supposed to be important in the Silver Eyes, and then it didn't turn out to be important. He wasn't that important. He didn't end up being important. And it's like, it would make sense that for some reason he gets importance in this one by being the first kill. And my running theory on Sammy right now is that he was an accidental death, but he was a death that kind of let William know that he could get away with it, right? Like, I think he annoyed William. William tried to shush him up or whatnot, and like kind of like put him in the springlock suit to like get him to be quiet or something like that. But what happened instead was the suit triggered, and Sammy there drowned in his own blood, right? And William freaked out, tried to cover it up, but before he could cover it up, his own boy got locked in the closet and discovered Sammy in there, and got scared, and that's why William gave him psychic friend Fredbear to watch over him. Or so I have two different theories. Like, it could also be that well, no, because that's the thing, is that it's implied. How come he didn't expect the spring locks to go off? Because they hadn't before. They hadn't before this, right? The suits seemed safe because anyone who had worn the suits prior had followed all the rules, right? But he put like a 7-year-old in the springlock suit, and that kid squirmed. So what about the employee rulebook? The employee rulebook, yeah, it literally said, hey, make sure you don't do these things, because if you do, it could happen. But he might have expected them to go up, but he might not have. But also, this is 1983. But here's the thing. This is also 1983. This is the year that Fazbear Entertainment got established. Yeah, go to the back. He's already in the back. He's in the parts and service room, right? So he's already in the back room. But anyways, so this is 1983 when Fazbear Entertainment gets established. And my headcanon is that William Afton and Henry combine together and make Fazbear Entertainment. But before that, William had Chica's Party World, and Henry had Fredbear's Family Diner. And so Henry had the springlock suits. William, at this point in time, he might even be new to the suits and not even know what the springlocks are really capable of doing, because this is 1983. This is when they finally formed their partnership and they started working together in the same restaurants and stuff, right? So he may not fully understand how dangerous the suit was. Almost every FNAF location closed in its opening week. No, I don't think this one did. Actually, the FNAF 1 location doesn't. If you read the hold on, I can pull them up. FNAF 1 news articles, right? Newspapers and clippings. So if you read the newspaper clippings for FNAF 1 specifically, this one, 2 local children were reportedly lured into a back room during the late hours of operation at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza on the night of June 26. While video surveillance identified the man responsible and led to his capture the following morning, the children themselves were never found and are presumed dead. Police think that the suspect dressed as a company mascot to earn the children's trust. 5 children are now linked to the incident at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, where a man dressed as a cartoon mascot lured them into a back room. While the suspect has been charged, the bodies themselves were never found. So that right there, this headline right here is the reason why I believe that this one is a kid, because some people are like, maybe it's just wires. I think it is a kid, and I think this is the location of the MCI. Got brought back from bankruptcy. No, I don't think it does, actually. Does it say that? Hold on. Character encyclopedia. Images. Plot of William in Five Nights at Freddy's, but his presence hangs over the whole story. At the Star Sister location, conversation can be heard where a member of the Fazbear Entertainment Board asks a maker of animatronics to explain some odd design choices. After the designer explains Circus Baby's ability to sing, dance, inflate balloons, and just wait, hold on, that's the first page. Can I see the second? Oh, here we go. Here's William Afton again. It's all his fault. This is not it. Okay, that's not the actual. This is someone's like fan made thing right here. Yeah, Tiger Tormy. Okay, this sucks. I hate when this happens. Okay, we don't see it here. Not in there. Oh wait, hold on. Here's the full picture. Can we get all? He killed Churchill in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 minigames, hidden from the ghost inside the Spring Bunny suit, and dies in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, and is present at the diner in Five Nights at Freddy's 4, coming back again and again after it appears time after time in the novel trilogy, each appearance more disturbing than the last. The suits kind of hold him together. Yeah, gone by then because it does say that there was a convicted person. Yeah, I think Henry is the one who goes to prison. Yeah, no, I don't think William Afton's ever saved from bankruptcy by I don't think the merger. See, that's the thing. I don't think my headcanon is that William saved Henry from bankruptcy, not the other way around. I think it's the Chuck E. Cheese scenario, but the Chuck E. Cheese scenario, I think it's the Chuck E. Cheese scenario actually 100%. So my headcanon right now is that Fredbear's Singing Show and upwards to Fredbear's Family Diner is Henry's family and into Henry himself. So we know Fall Fest features Fredbear and other characters, right? We know that that's a thing from like information in the games and stuff. So my running theory is that like his family owned Fredbear Singing Show. They gained enough profit from that over time that it developed into a full-on carnival or festival that became Fall Fest, and that Henry grew up in Fall Fest, and like helped with stuff, and that's where his love for engineering, mechanical engineering and stuff comes from. Is that he probably like helped with the rides and stuff at Fall Fest, and I feel like the Secrets of the Mimic is going to explore that more. I wonder if we're gonna play as Henry. The Mediocre Melodies, who built those guys? I think William Afton owned Chica's Party World, and Henry leaves Fall Fest because I think he wanted to start a family and settle down. So he leaves Fall Fest because it was a traveling thing, and he wants to set up. No. So that's the thing that people get that I think is backwards. Henry was always the advanced engineer, right? He was always. Fredbear's Family Diner featured spring lock suits, right? We see this in the books. We see it in the games. All that stuff. Spring lock suits are what he designed. So if he can design a spring lock suit that that is both for people to wear and for people to wear, and also for him to they turn into animatronics, right? Why would his other animatronics then be as badly designed as the Mediocre Melodies? No, what I think it is on mobile the enter key is automatically sensitive, right? I got you. So I think he left Fall Fest to start a pizzeria because those, I think in other places in the country, because this is the 80s, so like, yeah, Chuck E. Cheese and that has started forming and stuff. So I don't know if Chuck E. Cheese is canon to the storyline or not, but like those kind of restaurants have started popping up in the country. So he hears about it and he's like, hey, if I take Fredbear and like Bonnie, right, from my family, if I get the ability to license those or have those characters that are already established in the local community for Fall Fest, if I can take those and put those into a restaurant, to a pizzeria or whatnot, and create a Fredbear's Family Diner scenario, then that would give me enough push to have a successful restaurant immediately. and he designs the Springlock versions of both Fredbear and Springtrap, or Spring Bonnie or whatever, Golden Bonnie, and starts up his restaurant. It's like in 77 he starts or something like that, and it's successful for a few years or whatnot. I think what happens is that those up because it says that Ned Bear is yes. So here's my thing. I think William Afton comes over from across the ocean, comes over from the UK because William Afton, Elizabeth Afton, and Michael Afton all have British accents, which gives us the implication that the Aftons are from the UK, right? So he comes over to America to find his American dream, his fortune, and ends up in Hurricane, Utah for some reason, or wherever in Utah this takes place. And he sees Fredbear's Family Diner, and he sees no one challenging it. It has zero rivalry to it, and he thinks this is it. This is what I can do to make money. Maybe he already wanted a restaurant, but he knew that seeing that, he was like, this is what I need to do. If I do this bigger and better, I will make my dream, right? He's business savvy. That's the thing that's been explained about him. Sounds British, and if she moved any younger, she wouldn't have yes, exactly. So he's new in the area too. That's the thing. But so I think what it is that he's business savvy. Everything describes him as being business savvy, being smart about business. So what does he do? He sees a successful business that has no rivalry, no competition in the area, and he sees a way to, like every other restaurant obviously has competition because they're regular restaurants competing against regular restaurants. But there is no animatronic entertainment restaurant that has both a show and food, right? So he goes, I will make my own. But he sees that kids are the people that are most susceptible to going there, right? Children are the big draw to families ending up there. So he's like, what can I do to make kids want to come to my restaurant more than his? So he makes Chica's Party World, right? And I will say this, it's not the best explanation period on this, but what is the only other restaurant that we see in the game series that has the word world in it, right? There's only one other restaurant with the word world as the last word in its restaurant name, and that is Circus Baby's Pizza World, right? So I know it's not huge evidence, but it does make sense that both restaurants that William opens up solely are both world at the end of them, whereas all the restaurants that Henry wants to open up ends up ending with like pizzeria or pizza or diner. It's more, Henry is more focused on the local, whereas Afton is more worldly because he is from a different country. He is more worldly just automatically because he's foreign already. So, a lot of questions, but do you feel like Pop Goes and Candies are comparators to Freddy's? I mean, they specifically are created because of Freddy's. Like, they both are games that entire existence is because of Freddy Fazbear's. So, are they comparable to Freddy's? Yes, because they were made in the same vein. Are they better? The problem is that imitation takes a lot for imitation to surpass originality, right? So Pop Goes and Candies are both an imitation of Freddy's. So it's gonna be very difficult for them to ever be better or bigger or more important then, right? So I don't think they're competitors, but they're also not competitors because they are essentially fan-made games. They're just well-done fan-made games, and some of them are even funded by the FNAF game initiative, right? Anyways, so William creates Chica's Party World, and he hires an engineer, another engineer like an Edwin or whatnot, to create the mediocre melodies. That's Chica and all of her friends, and he does that because more variety, Fredbear's has 2 animatronics. We're going to have 6, right? And then he also fills in an actual arcade playroom, like a big arcade room. So he has more games. He has like all the makings of a Chuck E. Cheese essentially. So he starts winning because there's more for the kids to do, you know. And so what he does is, and then one of the ones that he has designed is Ned Bear, who again, business savvy for the 80s. He's like, okay, the biggest draw to Fredbear's is Fredbear. So what if I give people the next best thing? I give them Ned Bear, right? That's business savvy. Because now when kids are like, well, I want to go here instead because someone goes, well, what about Fredbear? He's like, we got Ned Bear. That's just as good. Plus, he's got more games. There's more animatronics. Like, there's a lot more to it. But his animatronics aren't as good. They don't come out into the crowd and wander around. They're stuck on stage. They have exposed batteries. But there's more of them. So everyone can have their own favorite, right? But there's also more games. There's more reasons to be there and to party and be cool. It's a bigger area. So he starts to win and Henry starts to lose. Well, one of the main things, and I think this is the biggest explanation on why in my head canon William Afton doesn't actually build animatronics. I think he can design them. I think he can design like what he wants in his animatronics, but I don't think he can build animatronics. I think he pays people to do it. And the biggest reason why I think this is because there would be no other reason for him to save Henry's business, but because he wants to acquire Henry. No, 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 no. Isn't that different? No, but he's noticeably different. Can you see the differences between a Fredbear and a Ned Bear? Right? Name's not the same. He wears a tie, and he wears a tie. He doesn't wear a top hat. He wears a regular hat, and also he speaks with a southern accent. That's clearly not Fredbear. That's Ned Bear, right? Um, but yeah, I think he wanted. I think the reason that he saved Fredbear Family Diner is because he wanted to acquire Henry's animatronic skills so he could upgrade the so that way he could upgrade the mediocre melodies. But then also when he went to acquire him through like product testing or something like that, they came to the realization that out of the mediocre melodies, Chica was the only one that people really liked that much, and more people had brand recognition with Fredbear and Bonnie than with the mediocre melodies. Which I don't know what their actual names were probably called. I doubt they were actually called the mediocre melodies in real life. It was probably called like Chica and the Gang or something like that. But the mediocre melodies were just that. They were mediocre. No one actually cared about them that much compared to Freddie, Bonnie, and Chica, because I think Chica has, a certain amount of appeal. Theories about William being the only one who wasn't scared to be in the spring lock suit. I think after this, I think what it is after the spring lock suits were discontinued or decommissioned, that's when William was the only one who wasn't scared to use the suit. And that's also in the books. In the books, it stated that the Fredbear suit was originally designed for Henry to wear, and the Bonnie suit. No, the Bonnie suit. So he originally couldn't wear the Bonnie suit in the books. In the books, William Afton is described as being a portly man, which means fatter. And so he wouldn't have been able to wear the suits. But then after no, he was able to wear the suit. That's right. When he was fat, he was still able to wear the suit. He was a stockier man, but he was still able to wear the Bonnie suit for some reason without triggering it, because he used the Bonnie suit to kidnap Charlie. So he kidnapped Charlie in the Bonnie suit while being a heftier man, and then he became thinner over time. Yeah, in the books it says that he was a heavier man. He was a business savvy Santa Claus or something like that. Hold on. He is a tall, thin man with peaky, almost exhausted looking. Okay, thanks for that one. I meant I meant his first. His. That's what he looks like in the. But what? His face is gone. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, that's that. Can we go to his? Uh, Damn it. Of course they're gonna do that. We're like, well, we're not gonna talk about what he looked like in the photo. Um, hold on. Uh, Silver eyes. Photo description. There you go. Yeah. The silver eyes Afton. Hold on. Silver eyes. Yeah. As being larger around the time. Hold on. Yeah. The silver eyes Afton is described as being larger around the time that the serial killings occurred, but he eventually lost that weight while in his Dave Miller persona. Yes. Yeah. Being larger. Yeah. Always like a no in the games. In the games, he's almost always represented as being thin because this is him. This is presumed to be him in Fnaf 4, which is 1983. He's a smaller guy. I mean, it still looks like he's got a bit of a pouch going on here, but he's a thinner man here. But yeah, in the books, he was described during the original Charlie kidnapping that he was a larger gentleman. Crazy, right? So anyways, so I think through product testing and everything else, they learned that that Fredbear and Bonnie were much more marketable than any of the mediocre melodies besides Chica, and that Fredbear's face would be what they would want to do marketing through. I wonder if they merged and then maybe a corporation acquired them also, like as like a triple merger type situation to give them more money or whatnot. But yeah, so Fazbear Entertainment was created through them merging. Wait, does it ever say that Henry gets let go or no in the FNAF 1 posters? No. So that's the thing. It says the suspect has been charged. The bodies themselves were never found. So my thing is that what I think my personal canon, because nothing ever tells us no or yes, is that this is the MCI, and the MCI happens in FNAF 1 time area. So Cassidy gets bit, William Afton kills some kids, and then Cassidy dies from a coma, and then William kills Charlie. But he kills 4 kids in the Spring Bonnie suit while as I call him Cassidy, because I do believe the logbook gave us his name, Cassidy's name, to be Cassidy. Another out external factoid that makes me believe that Crying Child's name is Cassidy is that Cassidy is a male British name. It's a very British name, and 2, it is used for males in the UK. A lot of people were like, his name can't be Cassidy because we're fucking Americans and Americans are stupid, and we're like, Cassidy's a girl's name, without ever doing research on foreign people. In the UK, Cassidy is just as much or more male name than it is in this one. My headcanon is that sister location is before FNAF 4. No way. No, there's no way. There's no way that sister location's before FNAF 4. You mean before the mini games or before the gameplay? I gotta be frank about that. Before the mini games that we see in, like, okay, hold on. So what do you mean the empty? First of all, the empty room, but second of all, what do you mean FNAF? You mean the mini games? You think Sister Location takes place before the mini games of the 1983 mini games? How? How would that work, Matt? How would that work? This is Michael. Are you telling me that post-scooped Michael is feeding his brother to Freddy Fazbear or to Fredbear? Is that what you're telling me right now? Because that's what it sounds like you're trying to tell me. Is that 14-year-old Michael Afton went down into Sister Location, got scooped, came back up, and then stuck his brother in the Fredbear animatronic. That's what would have to happen. That is Michael Afton right here. This is canonically Michael Afton. I will give you this. The actual gameplay of FNAF 4 technically could be post Sister Location. Actually, no, it can't be. It have to be prior. Everything, like, here's the thing, is everything besides maybe FNAF 1 has to be before Sister Location. The main game, but yes, I do believe that, because if the kid isn't the reason why he got why he's got a middle teeth for Fred. He's got a middle teeth for Fred. Oh, he had to see Elizabeth. So that's the thing, is he definitely doesn't see Elizabeth get scooped before this. I don't think it's that Elizabeth. So yeah, the empty. You're talking about the girl room being empty. There's a very logical explanation for that, and that would be that Elizabeth would not be old enough to be left home alone, right? Cassidy is like 7 to 10. I like to call him 10 in this because it makes a lot more sense. Is like 10 in this. Elizabeth wouldn't. It would be 3, right? She'd be like 2 or 3. She'd be a young child. She would be a toddler in this universe, like in this story. She would have been born in like 1980, right? So she's not old enough to be home alone. She's probably with her mom somewhere doing something, right? She is gone during these, not because she's already dead, but because she's not old enough to have been home alone, or to be home being babysat by her older brother. She's not old enough for that to be. He's not old enough, and she's not old enough for that to be okay. That's the main explanation for the girls' room being what it is, you know. And the reason for this also is because Mangle is featured in this. Like, Mangle's in here, right here. This is like, Mangle's right here. Mangle in FNAF 2 is described as being a game, as being an animatronic for toddlers to play with. Yeah. Then what was the whole remember what you saw? I told you. Right here. Right here. Boom. Remember what you saw. I said that I believe that this scene right here is out of order. That this scene actually takes place before the other scenes. And that it's purposely out of place to make things more difficult for us, right? But I believe this scene right here, him... Oh, man, I'm kind of blocking that, aren't I? My camera is. But, yeah, there we go. It brings it up a little bit. But that him seeing this kid in here is what he sees. Remember what you saw. This is what he saw. He saw a dead kid in suit. That's why he is specifically super afraid of Fredbear. It's if you watch the mini games, it's Fredbear specifically that he's running away from. He's seeing Fredbears come at him, and he's losing his shit over it because he saw a dead child in a Fredbear. Whoa, Fredbear doesn't have a head. Look, he's got a dead kid in the torso of a Fredbear with no head. How did it get in there? Stomach mouth. Stomach mouth. Double teeth for the nightmares about? Yeah, no, that's actually, you're talking about, hold on, I know what you're talking about. Hold on, let me pull them up. Hold on. Nightmare animatronics. You're talking about their actual mouths, right? Because they have double mouths on the inside. Because of this, they have teeth, and then they have more teeth on the inside, right? That's what you're talking about? Check this out. Did you know this? FNAF animatronics. Did you know that, endos. That endoskeletons come with their own mouth. Yeah, so endoskeletons come with their own mouth with their own teeth, but then the animatronic suits also have their own mouths and teeth. I don't know why endos have to have their own personal teeth, but it is a feature. So when you look at the mouth of any of the animatronics, if you really look into them, you can see a second set of teeth inside of their mouth. That's why the nightmares have two sets of teeth, because every animatronic has two sets of teeth. They have their endo teeth and then their and then their outfit teeth. That's why. Yeah, there's nothing actually in FNAF 4 that says that he saw Elizabeth get scooped. Another argument for him not having seen Elizabeth get scooped is the fact that Elizabeth would have the idea of Elizabeth getting scooped was introduced in Game 5. He didn't have a plan for Game 5 when he made Game 4 because Game 4 was supposed to be the final game. Wouldn't notice that at first? Absolutely they would. They're at a better angle than we are for that. They're all the way down here. They're looking up. Whenever he opens his damn mouth, you can see both teeth on the top of his head. But no, Elizabeth getting scooped wasn't even an idea when this game came out. When FNAF 4 came out, Sister Location wasn't even planned. He didn't think he was making a 5th game. He even said that in interviews. That's why there is a bigger gap between Sister Location FNAF 4. Yeah, it was called the final chapter because he didn't plan on making FNAF 5. So that's another reason why this in my headcanon, I go with some of the actual like real world logic I like to use in my theorizing, and other people like to ignore it. I know, and it's whatever. Everyone theorizes in their own way. I don't hold it against anyone. But except for FNAF World. What do you mean? FNAF World wasn't even planned. I don't even think he planned on doing FNAF World at first. And FNAF World, he even said when he built FNAF World, it was predominantly, he meant it for mobile. His original design idea was for mobile. But then he realized that people were going to want it on Steam and stuff, that he tried to he didn't give it the time that he needed to have. Yeah. It was in between. He rushed it. He didn't give it the time that he felt he should have. So, but yeah, no. FNAF 5. When he was making FNAF 4, he had no plans of making FNAF 5. So Elizabeth getting scooped wasn't even a thought. So not to be that guy, but I will not. I can't do a sister locate. I can't do SL before 4. Can't do it. I think sister location comes right before FNAF 1, but after FNAF 2. And here's my reasoning why. Sister location or 6. I think 4 is the scariest of all the 7 games. I think 4 is technically the scariest in all aspects. Because 1, you can hear that you are a child, right? Like auditorially, you hear how young you are, which kind of helps put you in that mindset. 2, it's the only game where sound is super important. In FNAF 4, you go up to the door, you open the door, you listen for breathing. If you don't hear breathing, you flick your flashlight and then you close the door. If you hear breathing, you're supposed to just close the door. That is fucking terrifying, okay? That's the thing that you're doing. Like, you're putting your ear up, and essentially, in your mind, you are going, do I hear teeth inches from my head or not? And you know, if I get this wrong and I flash my flashlight, I'm being ate by a giant animatronic. Thank you for the sub. Whoever just gave us a sub, I appreciate you. You are beautiful. We are at 518. We're trying to get to like 520. That's our next whoop whoop movement. I'm trying to get to 1,000 really, but 518 is a good starting point. But yeah, no, like that's the scariest one. I think FNAF 4 is the scariest game. Sister Location, there's a lot more of you moving around, and in my opinion, games where you can move are less scary to me. So that's why 6 is pretty scary also. Because again, you're stuck in one location. You're just sitting there in an office while trying to do stuff on noisy ass fucking equipment. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Storyline wise, yeah. So they combine together. I think 1983 is when the MCI happens, right? I think the MCI happens in 1983 just because story-wise it really fits together. Also, I think that this is Sammy, Henry's son. I think Scott wanted the twins thing to be in the games also, but I think because no one even like if you go back to the theories that were going on when FNAF 4 first came out, everyone ignored this. If you had to create okay, so in my headcanon, my timeline is 4, 2, Sister Location, 1, 3, 6, 7. I think Sister Location comes between 2 and 1. And my main reasoning for it is that I think this is our FNAF 1 location. I think it's our FNAF 1 location. What I think it is that MCI happens here, right? And this is my logic for MCI happening here. 1, they say 5 kids are attached to the MCI. 5 kids. If we don't put this kid in the MCI, we don't have 5 kids. We don't have 5 kids that fit this newspaper. 5 children are now linked to the incident at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza where a man dressed as a cartoon mascot lured them into a back room. While the suspect has been charged, the bodies themselves were never found. Right? Boom. So that's the first thing. 5 kids. If we do not attach him to this, who is our 5th child? Who is our 5th child? Right? If we use Help Wanted 2 Tombstone in the Princess Quest minigame, where you light the tombstones, some people have a different theory that to me doesn't make as much sense. What makes the most sense is that you light those tombstones in the order of the deaths, in the order of the deaths that we know at the time, anyway, right? So it's Chica first, and it's Elizabeth. And it's Charlie last, right? Of the 6 deaths, get their look other than Susie. So how do all the kids get their look other than get their look or get there? Wait, get their look? So we know we all know what Susie looks like. It's confirmed. Yeah. I don't think it really matters, honestly, what they look like. That's the thing, is I don't think their appearance really matters as much as people want to say that it does, right? And unless it's in what up, Goofy Goober? Unless it's in the canonical game continuity or in the game continuity stuff, I don't think images of children matter that much, right? What are we doing right now? We're talking about the timeline for the most part. So Susie's first, and then it's Fritz who becomes Foxy, and then Gabriel and Jeremy happen at the same time. And they become Bonnie and Freddy. So the thing is, too young where it is basically either boy or girl. No. The only character who we have where the gender was supposed to be ambiguous would be the one you should not have killed, which is, I believe, Sammy, Henry's son, Sammy. I think is the one you should not have killed. There is a chance that his name's Dave. Also, to be fair, I will acknowledge that kid's name could potentially be Dave. Multiple reasons. One person did the Foxy grid, and they actually did get the name Dave pretty easily and successfully, which I'm cool with, because in the in the Silver Eye series, William Afton William Afton disguises himself as a security guard named Dave Miller. And we believe that in both FNAF 1 and FNAF 2, both Mike and William pose as the security guards also for Freddy Fazbear's. And what is the one thing that we're seeing consistently when it comes to them playing guards, right? What do they do with their names? Every guard so far in the series, like that we've seen, really have had their names be the names of Afton victims, right? As people who Afton eventually kills. We have had Mike, who does eventually die because of William. We've had a Fritz, we've had a Jeremy, and we've had a Dave. So this kid's name being Dave totally works for me too. Makes sense. It could be a possibility because we do have a security guard named Dave, right? Puzzle, I don't want... Exactly. But it's... At the end of the day, I'm going to call him Sammy still because that's his name in the novel, and Charlie's name already turned out to be correct. So, Evan is bullshit. I will not do Evan. Right? I won't do Evan. I'll do Dave because this is the thing. The people who got... the guy who got Dave, he did get it backwards. He got EVAD. But, if you remember correctly, when we're trying to figure out the name of Vengeful Spirit, we are looking at a mirror when we're asking, do you remember your name? It's a mirror. So we think EVAD is supposed to get mirrored to be Dave, right? So that's why I'm cool with the whole Dave situation. But Sammy still works for me for right now, so that's what I'm going to use. So this is Sammy Emily, in my opinion. He was annoying William. William threw him in the springlock suit, maybe to shut him up. I don't know. But the suit accidentally triggered, killed the kid. He drowned in his own blood. Probably one of the most agonizing ways to die. And so he became a vengeful spirit, essentially, right? He died in the worst way. Of all the kids, he dies in the worst way possible. He gets spring locked and he drowns in his own blood while incapable of making noises. William sees this. He's horrified at first, realizes he has to clean this up and cover this up. So he gets rid of the body, right, and everything, and cleans everything up. And he allows everyone to believe that Sammy was kidnapped. So did William, but he's not a kid. What? Yeah. William dies to a springlock suit too. Yeah. But he's not one of the spirits. That's what I'm talking about, though. So Vengeful Spirit is Sammy because Sammy was killed in the most horrific way possible. He was also the one you should not have killed because, one, William didn't mean to kill him, but once he did kill him, it triggered something in William to realize he can get away with it, right? I don't believe that you can make up a name unless it's CC because we don't have a canonical name. Cassidy is usually known for Golden Freddy. It's only recently when CC is Cassie. Yeah, William got a taste of his own medicine eventually. Yeah. So I think with CC... No, that's the thing. So, hold on. I'll pull up the logbook and I'll run you through why I'm pretty certain. Logbook. Word find. Boom. So this is... Okay, yeah, this is the one that I usually use because it works so well. So this is the main thing. So we get Cassidy, and we get Cassidy through clues given to us by Altered Text and by Mike. Altered Text is we establish that Altered Text is Crying Child in the logbook. We determine that that's the case, right? So in Altered Text, we get the clues for Cassidy. Yeah, he didn't have a name until the logbook gave us Cassidy's name, right? And this is the thing, and this is what someone's doing right here, and I don't agree with this. So we've established that all Altered Text, old ones equals theories, right? So before the logbook came out, all old theories, we just called them CC. But we gave all Altered Text to Crying Child, right? That was the agreement when the logbook came out and we were trying to figure everything out. We decided that all Altered Text was Crying Child, and that faded text was vengeful spirit. But then when we get the Cassidy name, everyone jumps on it having to be vengeful spirit because of reasons, I guess. But then we do something like that. We do, who are you? What is your name? And then we say that altered text says, it's me, Cassidy. No. This that faded text is saying, it's me, Cassidy. No. Why did we do that? What's the reasoning? Why did we now give some altered text to faded text? That doesn't make sense, right? Why also are we getting the clues for faded text's name from Crying Child and Mike Afton? Why would they be able to give faded text his name? Unless this is 100% vengeful spirit. If vengeful spirit is from somewhere else, why would those two know faded text's name? Why would they know the name of the vengeful spirit? Why would it not make more sense that the clues being given by Alter Text and Michael be about Crying Child because Alter Text is Crying Child and Michael is the brother of Crying Child? Was the one always after William? But no, so Vengeful Spirit's always after Afton, but the name Cassidy is the thing. Like, that name came from this, and there was no evidence to prove that Cassidy was the name of whoever was after Afton. It was just known that it's the name of one of the two spirits involved in this book. Does Michael ever acknowledge Alter Text? Yeah, Michael gives two of the clues. Michael, Red Pen, gives two of the clues to solve this. That's the thing. Michael gives two of the clues, right? So why would Michael be able to help the other kid get his name back better, know his name more? What if Henry is supposed to symbolize old man consequences? That is a theory, that Henry is old man consequences. And there's evidence for it, I guess, but there's also, again, it's always vague. Why would Michael know the name of his own little brother? That's what I mean. If Michael's clues and Alter Text's clues are leading the name for Alter Text, aka Crying Child, that makes sense. Because they both would obviously know Crying Child's name because one of them is Crying Child and the other one is his older brother. Why would Alter Text and Michael know the name of random spirit kid Vengeful Spirit? That's the question. Also, people do this and they're like, well, this is clearly a conversation. Who are you? What is your name? It's me, Cassidy. It's like, no. I see this being one person's dialogue. I thought that Henry was old man consequence because he would be talking to his child. Maybe. But here's the thing, is he talking to his child? He could be. With my theory, Henry would be talking to his child. He would be talking to Sammy. In my theory, old man consequences, aka Henry, would be talking to his own son, Vengeful Spirit. In my headcanon. Isn't Charlie is also his child, but Charlie, we know, isn't part of UCN, and he already talked to Charlie in FNAF 6. He talks to Charlie specifically. He's like, and to my daughter, blah 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 blah. Right? So I think if Henry is old man consequences and Sammy, his son, is Vengeful Spirit, that makes that conversation between old man consequences and the sprite that shows up in UCN being a conversation between father and son. Conversation between father and son, telling him to forgive Michael, forgive William, because William will already have to suffer in the actual pits of hell, and that he doesn't need to extend his own influence on William's afterlife to torment him. He's already doomed to be tormented. Yeah. Golden Freddy in the same suit. So that's my other thing. I do agree with Rye Toast that I think that Cassidy, aka Crying Child, isn't actually in a suit. I don't think Cassidy is actually in the Golden Freddy suit. I think it's just, yeah, I'm sorry that on this day, the day you were shut out and left to die, no one was there to lift you up into their arms the way you lifted others into yours. Yes. Yeah. No, yes. No, I mean Sammy. Yeah, I think Sammy is in the golden suit. I think Sammy is in the Golden Freddy suit. I don't think that Crying Child is. I think Crying Child is just a wandering spirit, right? Who has nothing to possess. I think, because if you remember in FNAF 1, and we connect this, but I think we connect it wrong, and Rytos does point this out, in FNAF 1, you can get the "It's me" pop-up without Golden Freddy being involved. Yeah. Henry is Old Man Consequences telling Sammy, aka Vengeful Spirit, to let William go. To let it go, William will already suffer enough without the intervention of Sammy. And that Sammy can be off in the distance. And I think it works. Yes. Well, explain why Golden Freddy being in Help Wanted or something like that. It could. But I think it works. I think Henry does convince Sammy to let William go when he finally falls into the farthest pits. I think we see that image that you can get, and I'm getting tingly, like I'm figuring something out, like this is all coming together. I think the image, you know that image that you get when you go too many spots down in FNAF World and you fall through the pit you come to Old Man Consequences, you go into the lake and you continue to fall down and you end up in this picture that looks like either an angel with its arms open or it's a person holding two children. I think it's a person and two children. I think that is where you get Henry has convinced Sammy to let William go, and Sammy and Charlie and Henry are finally fully reunited. Old Man Consequences angel picture. I'm gonna call it the angel picture, and I bet it pops up. Maybe Old Man Consequences. When you fall far enough down. Come on. Hold on. Maybe it's just FNAF World. FNAF World. Or wait, maybe it's, or is it on a custom night? Old Man the fake. Oh, this picture. There it is. That picture right there. And like the screen is blinking a bunch of different colors, but yeah, this. Yeah. And it comes to this, and they're like, oh, it looks like it could be an angel, or it could be a person with their two kids. I think this is William. I mean, not William. I think this is Henry, Sammy, and Charlie. Because look, these two look like twin images. Looks like two kids and a parent, but not just two kids. These are identical looking kids. They look almost like twins, which is exactly what Charlie and Sammy would be. So I think this picture is Henry reunited finally after all those years with his two children who tragically died within the same year, right? Within the same year. So this is my MCI DCI storyline for you, Matt, right? So this is Sammy. Sammy dies first. Sammy is annoying William because William's always had and this was said in the books, it's said in the games, it's said in the movies, whatever. It's said all over the place that William was jealous of Henry. He was jealous of Henry's ability to build animatronics. And partially, I think it's because William doesn't build animatronics. I think he has to hire people. That's why he acquired Fredbear's Family Diner, because he wanted Henry to build better animatronics for him, right? So he's always been jealous. They merged together, and when they merged together, he keeps the Fredbear face, right? Even though he was the more successful business, they ended up keeping Fredbear as the logo, changed him up a little bit to make him Freddy Fazbear instead. So how come Henry is the one with the blueprints? What do you mean? So how come Henry is the one with the blueprint? With what blueprints? Oh, hold on. Because that's easy. That's easy to explain in the encyclopedia. That's easy to explain. Wait, the blueprints for what? The blueprints for what? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. William owned Showbiz, and Henry owned Chuck E. Cheese. And when they combined together, the more marketable character is the one that became the head of the company. Plain, but it is an image. Oh, that he has them? So, okay, so my timeline will explain that actually, Matthew. So, right. So, anyways, he's been jealous of him, blah, 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 blah. Amy comes in, starts annoying him because 7-year-old being a 7-year-old annoys William. Well, William's in the middle of one of his fits of rage. He gets mad. He throws him. Broccoli is a bit right. Anyways, he throws him into the springlock suit just to like get him to quiet up or whatever, and it ends up killing him because it springlocks. He hides the body, gets blah blah blah, and he covers it up, making it look like a kidnapping happened instead. This explains why Henry builds the security puppet, but the security puppet's main focus is making sure that kids don't leave the pizzeria with the wrong adult. Because he thinks his son was kidnapped and taken out of the pizzeria, right? Why would he build Why would he build a security system for kids being kidnapped if he knows that the kids are being killed in the pizzeria? But why would he build an animatronic to stop kidnappings if none has happened yet, right? I know Billy Bob Broccoli is a bear. I know. Who's Billy Bob Broccoli? It's a thing. Anyways, but yeah, why would he design a security puppet to stop kidnappings from happen if one hasn't happened yet? Why would he? What's the preemptive purpose of that? This is the 80s, right? This is the 80s, back when parents had to have a infomercial happen at 10 p.m. to remind them that they have children, right? So he builds a security puppet to stop kidnappings. Whoever unsubscribed, you're a terrible person. No, I'm just kidding. Unsubscribe if you want to. It doesn't matter to me. Anyways, so I think Henry thinks his son get kidnapped, so he builds a security puppet to stop other kids from being kidnapped, right? Cassidy, in the meantime, before the puppet gets created, this is before puppet gets created, right? During the opening time, at the beginning times, right? Cassidy gets bit by Fredbear on accident, pure accident, right? Pure accident. He does not count towards the MCI, people. He's an accident. People know what happened to him. It was public, all that. He's in a coma. Head crunched. He's in a coma. Endo head looks like Endo 2. The middle one, this one right here? Maybe. I think this is actually a torso. Or you're talking up here. Maybe. I don't know what this is actually supposed to be. It might be what's supposed to go inside of this head over here. It might be the head piece for this or something. Created Atari. Yes, that is true. Chuck E. Cheese and Atari were created by the same guy. This is facts. Anyways, so Cassidy gets head chomped. He ends up in a coma. Right? While he's in a coma, William's already been playing with this I can kill kids and get away with it kind of situation. He's already covered up Sammy. Cassidy gets his head chomped. Is Fredbear? You think the top is Fredbear? This or this? This is the Fredbear head for sure. I don't know what this is. This might go to him or go to him. I don't know. Anyways, besides the point, guys. Quit interrupting my timeline. Damn it. Anyways, so Cassidy gets chomped. That's an emotional thing for William, right? It does. Emotional thing for William. So William ends up murking some kids. I think that's the thing. I think he was a sociopath and just didn't know it until after he killed Sammy on accident. Why Sammy is the one you should not have killed, because it's the one that triggers the serial killer instinct in William and proves to him that he can get away with it, right? Cassidy gets trumped, ends up in a coma. William doesn't know how to deal with that emotion, so he does it in his serial killer way. But he's like, I need to figure out a good way to do this, because serial killers are smart. They do devise a way to get away with their murders. So he's like, what can I do? Well, one, cover up my identity. He uses the Spring Bonnie suit, because he also knows that the Spring Bonnie and Spring Bonnie and the Fredbear suits, those are both attached to Henry specifically, because Henry owned Fredbear's Family Diner. Henry built those suits. Henry designed those suits. Those are Henry's suits. And Henry and William would be the only two that would have unfettered access. No. So that's the thing. No, usually sociopaths, serial killers, their first death is the death out of their first kill is usually their kill out of passion that triggers them. And their first death is usually very different from their later deaths that have calling cards to them, where they kill in a certain way. The first one's usually not like that. The first one's usually the one that's different, right? And that's why a lot of people thought that Charlie had to be the first kill, because her death is different. But I'll explain why her death is different, even though it's the last one in the MCI, right? So put them on, William Afton. Yeah. So he kills the next 4 kids using the Bonnie suit. And I think he does the 4 kills within 2 nights. All right. He does them within 2 nights. And this is my thing. Midnight Motorist, there's been a little bit that might have killed this, but I don't think Fnaf has killed it yet. Charlie is the last death, right? And I'll explain some Charlie stuff in a second. But I am still to Midnight Motorist. Hold on. Midnight Motorist minigame. I know some people, because of the recent Fnaf game coming out, think that this is now William Afton again, or most people did think it was William Afton again. I still don't think it is. I personally still don't think it is. I still believe that Midnight Motorist is the story of how Fritz is killed. And until Fnaf or something else comes around to give us dominating proof, I don't believe that it is just I think it gives us more. Story-wise, element-wise, I think it gives us more being Fritz's story than it does being another weird William Afton story, especially when William Afton is a whole new color. And he didn't need to be a different color. He could have been purple still. But he made him gold for some reason. I think this is Fritz's story. No, so does give proof that Juniors doesn't become Fnaf 2. Yeah, and I don't think it does become Fnaf 2, right? No, I think that Fritz is just the son of an abusive father. Of a alcoholic abusive father, and Fritz was trying to and Fritz would spend time at Freddy Fazbear's to get away from his father as much as possible. And I think that his father shows up after a bender, and Spring Bonnie, aka William Afton, has convinced Fritz to come back to the pizzeria late at night so he could murder him. And the reason that I think it's called Later That Night is because in Pizza Simulator, you purchase those mini games that we're talking about. So what they do is they say it's later that night, because we have the Charlie kill mini game, the puppet mini game, and it's raining. And then in this one, it's raining, and people go, well, the file says later that night. But here's the kicker, guys. This You can purchase this way before you can purchase the puppet minigame. The puppet minigame doesn't even become accessible till after you've purchased this game. But you know what you do purchase before this game? Fruity Maze. You purchase this after Fruity Maze. We don't need so this is the thing. We don't need Jeremy and Gabriel. Their story's already been told to us. Susie's story has been told to us with Fruity Maze. So Fruity Maze tells us Susie's story. Later that night, we get Midnight Motorist, or the second game that we get Fruity Maze, then we get Midnight Motorist. So Susie's kill happens. Then later that night, we get Fritz's death minigame, right? Fritz has been kidnapped by Spring Bonnie, or convinced to come back to the pizzeria with. That's the thing, is he lures them. He lures them to the back room, right? This one, he went to Fritz's house and lured him back to the pizzeria, lured him into a back room, and then murdered him. We have. Good to have a Freddy kill game. Yeah. But hey, what do we have right here? 2 local children were reportedly lured into a back room during the late hours of operation at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza on the night of June 26th. 2 local kids. Who were those 2 local kids? Gabriel and Jeremy. The ones who take over Freddy and Bonnie. We have Susie with Fruity Maze. And now we get Fritz with Midnight Motorist. That gives us a backstory for all 4 of the MCI kids. If we put Sammy into the mix for our 5th kid, there's his backstory. He got killed in the back rooms while we were in operation and was put into a spring trap suit, or a spring lock suit, and was spring locked to death. And that gives us our 5th MCI kid. We see how Cassidy dies with the bite, which I don't even know why it's not. Oh, there it is. With the bite, there's our 6th one. There's Crying Child, or Cassidy, his death. And then we have the puppet mini game. That gives us our 7th death. And some people will be like, well, we technically already have Charlie's death with the save him mini game. Save him mini game. Or the save him minigame, this one right here. Save him minigame where we see them die and then William Afton drives off. But here's the thing. I believe this minigame specifically, this minigame is the retcon. That retcon that Scott's talked about where he says that he only did one true retcon, I think this is the retcon. Because this retcon, it says save him. But this is Charlie's death. This is Charlie being locked out of the pizzeria and then murdered by William Afton out of sight of everybody. And then him driving away. I think the reason that we get the puppet mini game in Pizza Simulator is to fully finish off the retcon. To fulfill the retcon fully. He essentially erases this minigame by doing the puppet one. I think that's the true purpose of the puppet one, to be in there, not as it to be the indicator of later that night, right? I think later that night is in reference to Susie's death, then Fritz's death that same night, and before the kids going missing becomes like a big story, the next day he lures Gabriel and Jeremy back there, murders them on June 26th. Now on to the part with Henry. William Afton currently has a son in the hospital in a coma. They have 4 missing kids, 5 missing kids, maybe if you count Henry's kid, but they have 4 missing kids initially that they're looking into. And I think what happens is while they're looking into it, they probably decide that Henry's kid going missing too probably actually happened at the thing, because what the news story doesn't mention is the fact that they think it's Henry, because what happens? William has a child in the hospital that he's probably visiting every day, right? So there's only 2 people who have unlimited access to the Spring Bonnie suit, which they caught on camera. doing this thing, right? There's only two people who have access to that suit. Who are the two people? Henry and William. They question William. William goes, I was at the hospital with my comatose son. Don't believe me? Go ask, right? This is the 80s. They're not paying attention to who comes and goes at the hospital, right? Henry, on the other hand, has no alibi because he's Henry. And Henry, described in the books anyways, and probably the same in the games, is very eccentric. He's very off-putting because of the way that he operates, kind of. It says in the book that having a conversation with him, you can tell that part of his mind is always back in his workshop working on his animatronics. He's very neurotic. He's very weird. And this is the 80s. If you take a guy who acts like Henry and put him up on the stand, or just put him in court and point at him and go, this is the guy who probably killed the kids and he's acting weird compared to everyone else, of course a jury is going to assume that he is the murderer and they're going to convict. Henry goes to prison for the death of those 5 kids. Because 4 kids go missing, they assume Henry probably did it. Henry's already had a kid go missing himself. I think they assume that he murdered his own son. I think Henry gets convicted for the murder of his own son. Right? But this happens in 1983. William, because his partner is now in jail as a convicted murderer, William now has full control of the company. He can do whatever he wants with whatever he wants, right? So he continues on with the restaurant because he has to, blah, 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 right? But he knows, right? But here's the thing. He knows now because Henry was convicted, he can't use the golden rabbit suit anymore. So his killing spree is done with. Until a little bit later, right? A little bit later, when Cassidy dies from his injuries. He finally succumbs to his injuries and he dies. When he dies, William becomes emotional again because he just lost his son. He goes back to the pizzeria distraught and he comes across Charlie, who's been locked out of the pizzeria by the other kids because no one wants to play with the daughter of a murderer. He discovers Charlie crying and whining, and he's distraught. He's upset because he just lost his son. And he's blaming Henry for the death of Cassidy, right? He blamed him in the beginning when he just got injured. That's why he used the gold Bonnie suit. That was one of his ways of using it because he could get back at him. He's like, your animatronic is the reason why my son... Because the mediocre melodies were shit. They could have never gone through the skull of a child. But Henry's animatronics were so good that they could munch down on a 10-year-old skull like it was fucking pudding. Right? His animatronics caused Cassidy's injuries. So he got him back by using one of the suits to kill kids, to deal with his emotional stuff, but also to put the blame on Henry if anything ever did happen and he did get caught. Then Henry got caught. Cassidy dies. That's Henry's fault too. Trash in the gang, the best animatronics. So trash in the gang because they can never hurt you, right? But anyways, so he blames Henry for Cassidy's death. What time is it? 2:51. I gotta be done soon. Anyways, blames Henry for Cassidy's death and takes it out on Charlie and kills her in the back alley. But that death doesn't get added into the other 5 because it looks like a mugging gone wrong. Right? Looks like a mugging gone wrong. Who would have made Trash in the Gang? Who knows? Who knows? Right? Looks like a mugging gone wrong or something like that. Looks like she got killed by just someone trying to like steal from her or something like that. The puppet, the whole time that Charlie is being attacked by William and being murdered, the puppet's programming is going nuts trying to get to her, but she's outside of the pizzeria. It finally makes it out there while it's raining, and it starts getting damaged too, but it makes it to Charlie and covers her body. And this is more speculation than anything else. This part right here, the why Charlie is the give gifts, gift life, even if she was the last one to die. How she managed to do the give gifts, gift life. So the other 4 spirits were shoved in the suits, and that's why no one ever found them, because their body is decayed inside of the 4 suits. But that's all they were. They were just stuck in the suits, right? When Charlie dies, Charlie figures out how to possess animatronics, and I think that's because of the bracelet that she's wearing. The bracelet that she's wearing is directly connected to the puppet, right? So I think in some fucking remnants controlling electronics or whatever, I think because that there's already that strong connection between Charlie and the puppet, it gave her the ability to figure out how to possess an animatronic. And the give gifts, give life is when she became the puppet, she possessed the puppet. Part of the puppet's rudimentary programming was to give gifts to make kids happy. Well, she's a dead kid. She can see the other dead kids, so she initially tries to give them presents to make them happy again. That doesn't work because they're trapped. They can't do anything. So next thing that she does is she grants them the same knowledge that she has on how to possess an animatronic. And that's why the kids can finally possess the animatronics, and it takes a while. Because, so the FNAF 1, so they all die, right? Local pizzeria threatened with shutdown over sanitation. Local pizzeria Freddy Fazbear's Pizza has been threatened again with shutdown by the health department over reports of foul odor coming from the much-loved animal mascots. Police were contacted when parents reportedly noticed what appeared to be blood and mucus around the eyes and mouth of the mascots. One parent likened them to reanimated carcasses. But obviously, these stories are separated by time. They wouldn't be one after the other. And then this one, after a long struggle to stay in business after the tragedy that took place there many years ago, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza has announced that it will close by year's end. Despite a year-long search for a buyer, companies seem unwilling to be associated with the company. These characters will live on in the hearts of kids. These characters will live on. CEO, William Afton. CEO, William Afton, right? So what it is I think over the next 4 years, the animatronics, once the kids figured out how to possess the animatronics, things that they could do was like do the mucus and the blood and stuff, and all that good stuff. I think when it started to shut down, it started coming to the point where it was going to shut down. I think William opens FNAF 2 location, right? But I think at the same time that he's opening the FNAF 2 location, he's also opening up Circus Baby's Pizza World. I think he's trying to open them simultaneously. Or like one after the other, basically. But he's trying to open both of them at one time. He has the engineers build the toy animatronics based off of the action figures that they had already been selling for a few years, right? Do the whole, he's like, we got to make it safe, blah, 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 because they couldn't get past, after a long struggle to stay in business after the tragedy that took place there many years ago. I think he tried to brush it off for a few years, but no one was buying it. People were still like worried. I think when he built FNAF 2 location, that's why he made the toys. Because he's like, okay, if we do something to actively show parents that we are not going to let the same thing happen, that's when that will drive customers back. But we need to be in a new location, so it's a distant memory. It's out of people's minds. Close down the old location, start a new location. I think he also had his own animatronic ideas with Circus Babies. I think he wanted to own something that was just his again, because he was still kind of caught up with the Henry thing. And I think that's why the FNAF 2 location deaths happen, because he tries to open up Circus Babies, and Elizabeth gets scooped. I think Elizabeth gets scooped in 87. I think she is the triggering event for William. That happens in 87, a couple weeks after Fnaf 2 location is opened up, and then he kills more kids. And the reason that I think he does all this is I think he hired somebody to build the Funtime animatronics. And then what if is the mimic? That would be interesting. That could be true. Actually, that could very much be what it is. But here's the thing, is that never actually occurs in the games. That's the thing. We're talking about the robot. That only happens in the books. It doesn't actually happen in the games. And that's, again, why FNAF World can't be... the FNAF World can't actually be canon. Isn't full canon. Because Henry doesn't pew himself in the games. He's still alive in FNAF 6. Right? He doesn't make a self-ending robot in the games. He's in the fire in FNAF 6, right? That robot only exists in the books. But anyways, so he hires someone to build the Funtimes, and then one of the Funtimes kills his daughter. So he kills the child of the builder, of the engineer, of Edwin. Right? Anyways, so then he goes on a murder spree again because he's emotionally distraught. Now his daughter is dead at the hands of an animatronic, just like his son. Just like his two youngest have now died to animatronics. He goes off the deep end. He doesn't even think about it. He just goes back into old serial killer mode, and he dons the yellow suit again, the bunny suit, and starts murdering some kids. And that's where he fucked up. That's where he fucked up. There was no one else to pin it on anymore. Once he did that, they knew who it was. They knew that it was William Afton. They knew that it had to have been William Afton this time. And that's how they know that it had to. That's when new evidence comes to rise, and Henry gets released from prison in 1987. And we'll continue this tomorrow night, guys. I really got to get going. It's 3 o'clock. Love your faces. Thank you guys for hanging out. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We didn't lose any today. We're breaking even. No new ones. No losses today. Love your faces. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we can continue on the timeline tomorrow. But 1987, Henry gets released from prison because William Afton strikes again in the yellow Bonnie suit. Love your faces. I'll see you guys.